Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome to the very first Arena Direct event. This is a new series of events where you can win a physical booster box of Magic the Gathering cards by winning a tournament on Magic Arena. It's another high-risk, high-reward event similar to an Arena Open where the entry fee is quite high at 5,000 gems, the equivalent of 25 US dollars, and the only way to get in the money is to win 6 rounds before 2 losses. If you can do that, then you will be leaving with a full booster box of Modern Horizons 3. Otherwise, you're just going to get some amount of your gems back, most of the time, absolutely nothing. The format this time around is Modern Horizons 3 sealed, so this will be yet another very competitive, very high-stakes Modern Horizons limited events. Without further ado, let's cross our fingers for some good pulls and get back into that Writhing Chrysalis lottery. Alright, a quick peek at our rares here, and they're exactly okay. I don't think Necrodominance and Flare of Fortitude are particularly great in draft and sealed, nor are the rare lands, but we have a couple pretty nice beefy creatures that could count as some bomb creatures like Gengar, the Sire of Famine, just a gigantic flyer that adds some flexibility, being able to turn your creatures into blood tokens. And then Devourer of Destiny can be good if you have enough colorless sources in your sealed pool, so very mana dependent, but 7 mana for a 6/6 that also exiles whatever permanent you want is a pretty good 2-for-1 deal. We've got a decent board wipe here with Wrath of the Skies, and a solid role filler for a green-black deck with White of the Reliquary. Actually a little better than a role filler. I'd say this is a solid reason to want to play green-black if we have a lot of good creature token production, because then this can be a really quick ramp card, sacrificing like your Eldrazi spawn to fully turn them into whatever land you need. So, pretty fun little ramp card there for a synergistic deck with a lot of tokens, but another card that's pretty sealed pool dependent, so not going to be one super obvious, super clear path just based off of the rares, but that's rarely ever the case. We are going to take a look at all of our commons and uncommons and see where the best deck really lies in this sealed pool. So we're going to start off with the colorless cards here. These are the cards that can fit into our deck no matter what. Also, colorless mana fixing is really nice to keep an eye on, so you know what you have access to in any color pair. There is no colorless mana fixing here, which is a little bit awkward, but there are some solid Eldrazi options, and that looks like about it. So unless we have a deck that does specifically care quite a bit about having big Eldrazi or little Eldrazi spawn, then these aren't super great options. They're a little bit narrow, because they're all the kind of cards that are specifically like great for an Eldrazi deck, and somewhat filler for other stuff. So good Eldrazi start out of the colorless. When it comes to our mana fixing, we have red, white, black fixing with the Sheltered Landscape, 3 blue, red, and white fixers with these Perilous Landscapes, and then 1 red, green with the Wooded Foothills. And that is about it for fixing. There's also a green, black dual lands. All of the modal flip cards like the Revitalizing Repast here are dual lands. So there's a green-black dual land and a green-red dual land. So we have green-red, green-black, red-white-black, blue-red-white, and another green-red. So like green-red-black, like Jund kind of stuff, and blue-red-white Jeskai kind of stuff is where we have the fixing. As for particularly powerful multicolored cards that are really pulling us in our direction, I don't think there's anything incredibly obvious here. Just because we have like one card for a bunch of different strategies. Red-white aggro, green-white aggro, green-blue ramp, blue-black draw 3. Yeah, there's exactly one card for a bunch of different 2-color pairs, so nothing super obvious there. They're all solid in their respective decks, but no super clear direction from there either. So let's check out just what are the strongest colors, period, in the sealed pool. Starting off with white, this looks like a very decent color. We have a good chunk of interaction. A lot of it is somewhat narrow in some way or the other, like Dog Umbra not shutting off abilities, Razorgrass Ambush only hitting the small stuff, Thraben Charm needing to have creatures on board to use it as removal against creatures. but they have like some added flexibility as well, where the Thraben Charm can also hit enchantments, the Ambush can also be played as a land. So a bunch of solid options for removal, and then of course, the best ones, the Ajani Fells the Godsire. These only exile big creatures, but that's probably what you want to kill anyway by turn 5. And these are like 2-for-1 spells, where it's a removal spell and a very solid little creature there, with just like a 2-1 vigilance at worst, and sometimes you get to put a vigilant counter onto an even better creature on your board. I do really like the creatures we have out of white as well. My biggest flaw with the color, the biggest thing that I don't like here is that there's only 3 creatures total. So I really like the Airy Auxiliary as the best creature for an aggressive white deck, but Voltstorm Angel is a solid top end card, like a curve topper, and then Hex Gold Slith is very nice to start things off. So these are great aggressive creatures, but a pretty low creature count. I guess you could say we have 5 creatures because we have a couple 5-mana 2/1s, but don't love treating that as a super good creature count just because of Ajani Fells the Godsire. I would really classify those as creatures over spells, even though they technically do create the creatures. So there's some solid stuff in white, but there's some competition here where the spells, Wrath of the Skies, Ajani Fells the Godsire, and like a bunch of removal, might actually be better in a controlling deck just because the creature count is so low. So unless we have a secondary color with a bunch of creatures, I think our white looks like a great control spot to be because we have a full-on board wipe and a bunch of decent removal. Now for our blue, this is pretty empty, very low quantity of cards here, and the quality is not particularly high. Yeah, very average energy cards. Very dirtily filler Eldrazi. There's one really nice card draw spell with Brain Surge. I guess Unfathomable Truths is decent as well, but like Shrieking Drake's pretty whatever, Shapeshifter's pretty whatever. Unless I'm super dedicated energy, I don't think Electrozoa is that good either, but Tempest Harvester you can put in like anything, Brain Surge, Stupor, Unfathomable Truths you can put in anything, Utter Insignificance. I've been pretty unimpressed by Tamiyo Meets the Story Circle as well, but maybe that's just because I'm impatient. The idea with this is you discard a bunch of cards, and then you can draw a card. You can draw twice as many cards as you discarded, because you investigate twice for every card you discarded, which means like if I discard 2 cards to this, I get 4 clue tokens. So over the course of the game, if I spend another 8 mana, I could turn those 2 cards into 4. But you need to have a lot of time to do that, so you need to be in a pretty good position, probably better in like more controlling decks and stuff. So maybe like some blue-white control build is a possibility or something, but I'm not overly impressed by the blue. For our black here, we've got a very high quantity of cards. That's pretty nice. Is there anything super unplayable here? The Necrodominance. Do have a Transmigrant to work with our Victimize, and we have some of those cycling Eldrazi if we play blue-black. I believe we had 2. Yeah, we have 2 of the blue Cycler, which actually plays really well with Victimize, because we can discard it, draw a card, and create the Eldrazi spawn. We can then sacrifice that Eldrazi spawn to bring that and another creature back from grave. So like a blue-black Reanimator Victimize control kind of build could be decent. We've got Gengar here as well. I mean, our blue itself isn't that good, though. But we run, like, some good card draw spells. Some good bounce kind of interaction. To get the Victimize combo, because we'd have to be blue for the Drownyard Lurker's cycling ability here. Certainly the most synergistic thing I've seen so far. That also gives us the Shadow Spinner, which also works really well with the Victimize. I mean, it's 1 copy of Victimize, though, so is it really that consistent? Probably not. But I still do like black better than our white and our blue, if we're talking about individual colors, so I'll still keep black as a color in mind, even if blue-black might not actually be as good as I was making it out to be in my head. Yeah, we're really good at discarding big creatures to reanimate them later, but we just have the 1 Victimize anyway. So I've got like 2 ways to connive here. As well as the cycling creatures that are big, the blue-black Shadow Spinner that would help out for that. It's like really close to a great blue-black Reanimator build, in this sealed pool. We just have the one reanimation spell though, so it's not going to be consistent, probably not that strong. So I'll probably still take a look at it along with all the decks that I think might be best, but I definitely think black is our best color we've looked at so far. For our red, looks like very solid aggressive stuff here. Double Pyro Surfer being super good if you can get a bunch of creatures on the board alongside them. You can get a lot of value out of that Battle Cry, get a bunch of extra damage. We're not going to main deck a Meltdown. Preferably not an Inventor's Axe or Phyrexian Ironworks, because I don't see a ton of energy synergy in this sealed pool. So I don't think Ironworks and Skyclaw and Axe kind of stuff's going to go that great. I guess Skyclaw's still fine and sealed, even by itself. It attacks as a 4-mana 4/3 flyer, which is not impressive, but it is decent enough to be filler. Yeah, red looks fine. It's not overly impressive or anything. It's got one pretty solid removal spell with Fanged Flames. I like the Pinnacle Monk a lot as a value play, picking up one of your removal spells when you play it. Recast it again. Nice 2-for-1 there. Yeah, red looks fine. Green also looks fine. We have one removal spell. And just decent Eldrazi nonsense, I guess. We get a bunch of Eldrazi spawn, then Propagator Drone giving them all Evolve is pretty good. That means basically whenever we play a bigger creature, all of our Eldrazi spawn get a +1/+1 counter. But we're not very good at producing Eldrazi spawn. There are 0 Eldrazi spawn producers in green outside of the drone itself. We didn't get any Writhing Chrysalis or anything out of the multicolored cards, so it's just one Propagator Drone, and we try to play like It That Heralds the End, and these big 7 drops that can cycle for 1 spawn, which looks like okay, but not super impressive. I mean, we could be just green-blue Eldrazi using the Lurkers and the Tuskers as top end here. Certainly an option. Then we probably would have to run some amount of landscapes in here. Like off-color landscapes, just because they provide us with colorless mana, so we can cast It That Heralds the End and Devourer of Destiny more consistently. This does not look super good to me. I'm gonna look at my rares again. I had like one particularly scary card. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that looks super strong synergy-wise in this sealed pool. So is there any raw power we can really build around? Not particularly. If we can fit these 3 into the same deck, that would be running all of our strongest cards in the same build. I don't think we can, though. Because I think the landscapes were blue, red, white. Yeah, blue, red, white is where we get the colorless sources and colored fixing. So playing the Devourer of Destiny requires playing all these landscapes, which means red-white would be the best color pair, because that's where the landscapes can also fix the colored mana instead of just being colorless sources. I mean, our red looked fine. I guess we can do that to have all 4 of our landscapes overlap for both of our 2 main colors and our tertiary color being colorless. Basically splashing in a colorless bomb instead of a 3rd color, but then I don't get to play Gengar. Maybe Gengar's just the easier rare to get in here. Because playing red, white, black would probably be pretty difficult here. I mean, our sealed pool has some dual lands and landscapes for fixing, but that's it. Just some of those. There's no green fixing at all. So we can't be like one of those green multicolored soup decks. Yeah, no. There are none of the mana dorks that tap for a mana of any color or anything like that. Yeah. I mean, I guess White of the Reliquary can theoretically work as a little bit of fixing as well, because we can get any land that we want off of that. So maybe green black gives us the most fixing. And then if we're green black, we still have this problem where we really want to cast Devourer of Destiny as one of the strongest cards in here, but none of these landscapes fix for green black at all. This one fixes white black, which helps us splash in the White Wrath. So that's kind of cute. But this one's like horrible. If we're like green black splash white or something like that. I'm really not feeling multicolored soup as an option. Okay, what does the red-white deck look like if we do just run, boom, 4 red-white landscapes? Those are also our colorless sources. That means we get to play Devourer. We get to play the Conduit Goblin because we have like 1 2-color card in every color pair, so of course we have 1 red-white one. 44 cards to start. And I thought red and white were both pretty decent colors. I don't think either of them is our worst color. Neither of them are our best color either. I think black was probably our best. So how much energy do we have here, actually? Because it is an energy color pair. All right, I don't actually know how to search for that. I thought I could just type the word energy. You cannot. I don't know what the oracle text for the energy symbol is. So I don't know how to search for the energy symbol. So I guess I have to manually check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess the Wrath wants energy too. 6, 7. We probably do have to run the more filler Jolted Awake and Inventor's Axe just to up that energy count. But that might be enough for Ironworks, especially considering we have 6. We have 6 2-drops that we can declare an attack and get an energy the turn we play Ironworks pretty consistently. That actually looks pretty fine. Meltdown does not. That is not main deckable. The creature count, 13. Oh, that's very low. But I have 2 Ajani Fells the Godsire. I think that's actually like really low for like Phyrexian Ironworks attack triggers. And like running combat tricks and stuff. It's not too low for sealed in general, but for like cards that are really just for aggressive decks. I already didn't love the amount of energy we have towards the Ironworks. I just thought maybe with all these 2-drops it could still be okay-ish. But if we do cut the Ironworks, that also lets us cut some of the more mediocre energy cards, like Inventor's Axe for sure. Running Inventor's Axe in a 13 creature deck feels really bad, even with like, 5 mana 2/1s like a Johnny Fells the Godsire, maybe making it a 15 creature deck. Yeah, I'm gonna drop Ironworks in the Axe here. Take another look at the multicolored and colorless. Yeah, there's nothing I mean, we can play a Stomp, I guess. Just as a red removal spell when we have a creature on board. Though we can also play as just a tapped red source sometimes if we're in a really bad spot. Yeah, there's just no colorless we really want to run here. Yeah, I mean, this is a thing we can do. Probably drop Flare. Yeah, that is so narrow. That's super bad. All right, so we would like cut those 2 and we'd run this. Probably don't want to keep shooting myself in the face with Barbarian Ring. I don't know if the 2 damage in the late game is going to be worth that. So if I play this turn 1, that is real bad. And then I did end up running Stump and Razorgrass Ambush. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 15. So yeah, it's not unreasonable to actually just throw in another non-land here, since both those can be played as lands in a pinch. Which would mean Inventor's Axe, Ironworks, or Jolted Awake. I I do, again, really feel like Jolted Awake and Inventor's X are really bad in a low creature count deck. There was nothing here for us in colorless. So we probably would still try running the Ironworks. This... we can play a real mid Boros deck just because we get to play Devourer and Wrath as two of our strongest cards. Don't know if that's really worth it for how mid the deck looks, but I will go ahead and save a picture of this deck so that I have that to rebuild immediately after I look at some other options. If I decide that, wait, no, that was the best option, then I can go back and insta rebuild it really easily. So next up, instead of just raw power level of the strongest cards in the sealed pool, which I guess I am still doing because I'm putting Gengar in here, but I'm going to go for just raw power level of what is the strongest color in the sealed pool, and that is black. So seeing what color paired up with the black would make the strongest deck, and seeing if we can roll with that, because I think black is our strongest color. It has solid removal, at least one solid removal spell with Breathe Your Last. It has a solid bomb creature with Gengar, and it has a pretty great, pretty consistent curve here, where we have some decent 2-mana plays, some decent 4-mana plays, a decent 5-mana play. There's a decent play at every mana cost on the curve. I mean, Kami is probably the worst of these cards, but it is still interesting. And it just has the highest quantity of playables as well, so the most breathing room for what's going to work well with other colors. So let's see. What does Orzhov look like? What does Black-White look like here? So, it's got a lot of removal. It's got a pretty solid, decently aggressive curve. Of course, the Dross Claw, meaning 4 2-mana creatures on attacks. Love the Auxiliary on 4. Trying to get a counter on like a couple 2-drops if we're lucky with this deck. We get the Wrath with this color as well. We get the 2-for-1 removals with these Godsire things. Looks pretty decent. Did we have a black-white common or uncommon? No, we didn't. We did not have a black-white multicolored spell. So what would the 3 cuts be? It would be Flare of Fortitude for sure. Maybe the Kami... Victimize is still cute with double Scurrilous Sentry and like a Transmigrant as the sack fodder, but might be a little too narrow there. I'd probably rather run the Kami of Jealous Thirst with 2 copies of Eviscerator's Insight to draw 2 cards during our turn sometimes. That could trigger the draw 3 thing on that as well, which is fun. With very little other energy, I guess Jolted, Awake, Victimize, and Flare would be the cuts, and this would be the black-white build. Looks pretty fine. Looks pretty fine. What about blue-black? Alright, well, immediately, I don't get to cut anything out of blue. Well, that's not true, because I would also get the Horrid Shadow Spinner, which is a pretty good card. So getting the Horrid Shadow Spinner means I cut 1 card. It's probably like 1 Electrozoa without a bunch of energy to fuel it. I mean, I don't know why we're playing blue. The deck still looks decent because the black looks really good, but it's like there's just no big reason to be playing blue here. I mean, the white's just better. I imagine this is going to be the same for every other deck we look at. It's like the big draw against blue is like, why aren't we just playing black-white or black-red or black-green? Because those are just a bit better. There's nothing astronomically wrong with this deck. It's just, I think, going to be the weakest of these 4 options for black decks. Alright, black-red. This turns it into the most aggressive version because we have multiple 2-drops and 3-drops on the curve this time around. The Meltdown, the Axe, the Ironworks, incredibly awkward this time around, though, which means we have to cut 3 cards, brings us down to 39 cards in the deck. Even if we cut Victimize as well. and there's nothing gained for multicolored stuff. I think I would honestly just rather play black-white at that point. Still think our black-white looks stronger than this. What about black-green? This gives us the most multicolored options. One more removal spell, so certainly not as much interaction as black-white gives us, but I want to say this is the closest in terms of power level to black-white so far. Black-white looking just better than black-blue or black-red. Black-green might actually be competing here, because not only do we get some of these multicolored cards, but we get a really decent curve. We get a lot of creatures here. So we get the Repast and the white of the Reliquary. Although the white's not super good in here. It's solid when we have it with like Transmigrant, but we don't have much Eldrazi spawn production. We do have one of the Warped Tuskers I can cycle for one Eldrazi spawn, but again, that's really not doing much. I guess the white is also good with the Dross Claw. We like sack the germ but keep the equipment. It's kind of cute. I mean, looks fine. I really just feel like black-white is the best of all these builds. Because, like, I have cards that would be really good, like Propagator Drone and Wumpus Aberration, but, like, I don't have the cards that make them really good. I don't have Eldrazi spawn production for the drone, so I have to sit there spending 4 a turn to actually do things with it. I don't have colorless sources for the Aberration without just running a bunch of wastes, basically. Wastes is just the colorless basic land, so I would just have to run... I hate that I can't have them show up in here. I'd have to run all of the off-color landscapes. We don't actually have green-black landscapes at all. So I'd be running landscapes just for the sole purpose of tapping them for colorless to make sure that Aberration doesn't hit its really negative abilities. So I mean, I probably just end up cutting Aberration, honestly. Because we don't have the spawn to make it, and we don't have the colorless sources to stop the ability. Yeah. Yeah, let's not dirtle around and dilly-dally too long here. Let's just lock in. I think black-white has been the best of the black decks that we've looked at. Black is the best color, and I don't think that this sealed pool really supports going super deep on a bunch of other colors. We could maybe still like splash the green, although some of our strongest multicolored cards that we get here are 2-mana plays which aren't super splashable. This splashes towards red, this splashes towards red. Was there anything in red that we'd want to splash? Fanged Flames, but I have a lot of white removal, so not really. I don't really want to splash in any of the red cards. The one thing, of course, is that I kind of want to try to play Devourer of Destiny, which would mean running all of these landscapes anyway. I really commit to that. In which case I would naturally have 4 red-white sources. So 4 of our ways to get white mana could also get red, so we could splash in some nonsense in red. But there's just no super splashable red stuff. I could pray for a good Victimize. Hurl a Sentry away the Devourer and reanimate it, but its trigger is when you cast it anyway, so that's not even impressive. And play Repast here as a trick that doubles as a tapped black source. Alright, got 5 cards. Flare for sure. Victimize probably. I do like it with the Angel that cycles. And the sentries can discard stuff. But again, the whole having stuff to sack to it doesn't go super well in this deck. Jolted Awake looks pretty bad. Double Insight might be a little much. Still probably running one of those. Okay, creatures, what are the worst? Dross Claw. I like having all these 2-drops towards turn 4 auxiliary. Grim Servant. Losing 3 life is a big cost. You have to lose the 3 life no matter what. But if we just have 2 devotion to black, then this always gets a removal spell, thanks to these spells. I think we still run that. I'm definitely keeping the top end in sealed. Okay, so 5 cuts, that'd be Flare, Jolted, Victimize is the worst cards, and then 1 Drawsclaw, 1 Insight. 12 creatures, 13, 14, 15. Somewhat low, but like, got a Wrath in here. Sealed is fine for lower creature counts. I guess I've got 2 different tap lands to play. I could cut 1 land, but I have 4 5-drops. I've got a big 7 mana finisher. I've got a gigantic X mana board wipe that I do need to spend a lot of mana into because I'm not very high on energy production. So I do need to quote-unquote flood out for that. I'm going to cut a Drawsclaw and an Insight. This would be the black-white build. I think this is my favorite deck I've looked at. And I think the only thing that I remember being potentially notable that we haven't really looked at is green-blue here. I did mention early on I was hoping there was like a great blue-black reanimator deck, which is like, that is probably the only deck that we would run that gets to use the Victimize, but I think it is weaker than the black-white. I guess I didn't mention when I was looking at blue-black that we did get 2 lurkers playing that color pair as well towards the Victimize stuff, but I feel like just the power level of Ajani Fells the Godsire, Area Auxiliary, Wrath of the Skies' cards pulls us white over that deck regardless for the black deck. Yeah. Anyways, I think the only other deck that I was thinking about was like the blue-green, playing all of the Eldrazi Spawn Cyclers, but I don't think that's going to be any better than this, so I'm just going to save the deck, and then I'm going to look at it, and if it is better, then I'll save that one and edit from there, and if it's not, then we don't have to rebuild the black-white deck. So, blue, green, multicolored. I do like the Void Cry in here a lot. Try to play it that heralds the end. And now, here is where, with it that heralds the end towards Eldrazi Nonsense and Aberration and Devourer, we certainly play off-color landscapes. Definitely the one that has blue, at least. Shattered Landscape would be completely off-color, which means I couldn't even crack it to get a colored mana if I needed to. But this at least turns into a blue source. Maybe I just run the Perilous Landscapes then. 3 colorless lands. But they can also be cracked for blue in a pinch. Okay, we can run the Stump Stomp for another removal spell, because our green-blue is a little light on removal. Then, I guess because we're a little light on removal, we also get to splash in Fanged Flames really easily. Because we've got Foothills, triple red landscape off of that, and then I guess at that point I can play this as well. Single mountain in the deck. Sure. Yeah, do that. 10 cuts. Definitely cut all this energy nonsense. The incredibly filler Shapeshifter. Just personally, I'm not much of a fan. Tamio meets the Story Circle. Shrieking Drake doesn't have strong combos, and it's really slow. Hydro Trainer's pretty slow. Triple Oozewag's probably a little much. I guess I could just cut all Oozewag if I want, and then this would be the deck. Better than the black-white deck. I mean, it's got a Devourer of Destiny, so it has some bomb power of its own. Got solid interaction just like black-white had between Slam, Fanged Flame, Stump Stomp, and utter insignificance. The mana base is a little sketchy. 4 colorless lands. The only Eldrazi spawn production really being cycling these as well. But I don't know, maybe just resolving the Eldrazi beasts is plan enough. Nyxborn Hydra as well. There's a decent amount of just nonsense to curve up into. So, if these decks got paired against each other, which deck would win? That's one way to look at things. I feel like this deck might win the matchup. Just because our black-white deck has 2 ways to clear out like a big top-end card. I guess there's not that much top-end here. There's what, 4? 5, you count the Nyxborn Hydra. An early Aberration could be terrifying too, though. This deck's definitely less consistent as well. The mana base is kind of all over the place. I mean, this deck has better top end, but the black-white deck is just more consistent, better early game. I don't think either of these is considerably stronger. I think I prefer the black-white over this a little bit, but I hate to do this to you all. I hate to drag it out so much, but that is why we've got chapters you can all skip to. I'm actually going to take one more look at the blue-black deck, because I actually kind of like that as an in-between here, where we get access to some more top end with the Drownyard Lurker while still getting the really consistent color of black with the Gengar Bomb rare here. And it's going to be like more top end and also more consistent. So more top end than black-white and more consistent than green-blue is really what it's doing for us. Not only that, I honestly think it might be just as consistent as the black-white because it gives us that extra game plan of Reanimator, like the Victimize being actually very real, and giving us the consistent card draw options of Tempest Harvester, drawing and discarding, and the blue-black uncommon. So maybe in the end we will go with my random initial assessment of like blue-black Reanimator would be really cool, but we're kind of just like blue-black good stuff instead of blue-black Reanimator because it's not like a consistent theme of this deck or anything. It's one card that we have that we can play around with. So, oh man, yeah, I mean our other blue cards are just so bad though. I can play the Shapeshifter as filler. I can play the Tameo thing as filler. Maybe the Shrieking Drake. Archway of Innovation plus Tameo meets the Story Circle is like hilarious. If we can manage to get a million clues and then improvise something, that's very funny, but also probably not something we're supposed to try to do. I'll put it in for now. So, I guess I was about to say, realistically speaking, what's stopping from us just playing all the landscapes in this deck to still try to play Devourer? It's like, technically nothing, but then it's only one colorless card we're trying to cast. We're not trying to do It That Heralds the End anymore. But we also get added consistency of the colorless mana by having 2 Eldrazi spawns off of Drownyard Lurkers, plus all of the landscapes are going to be one of our colors. So basically what we're doing here is in order to play Devourer of Destiny and have one more bomb rare in this deck, we're making 4 of our basic lands a bit worse. Maybe not a bit, quite a bit worse. We're taking 3 of our islands and making them come into play tapped. And we're taking one of our swamps and making it come into play tapped. But technically, we'll still have exactly the same number of blue and black sources in this deck because this is a black source and these are all blue sources. They'll just take longer to set up if we need them instantly. It might be worth making that mana base a bit worse for the Devourer when we don't have to play any completely colorless lands in the deck. I'm going to try the Devourer thing here. I think I'm going to roll blue-black. I've said that a lot now. I think I'm going to go with this deck. I think this will legitimately be the deck. I really, really like this curve. I love the consistency of the draw discard spells. The Victimize package of the double Drownyard Lurker towards that is quite nice, with tons of ways to discard stuff. To make sure we always have 2 creatures in grave. If we ever draw into the Victimize, it's going to do something. That Shapeshifter's still pretty filler. It's 4 lands in here. This is actually 26 non-lands. Boop, boop, boop. 23 non-lands. That's a deck. I'd probably rather cut one of these Eviscerator's Insights before one of the other things. Yeah, I'll actually cut an Eviscerator's Insight and put another creature back in, I guess. Put something that I cut back in. Well, I kind of... There's a couple cute little Eviscerator's Insight synergies. I don't know if they make them that much better than a Shapeshifter or a Drawsclaw. I don't think a second Insight or a first Shapeshifter or Drawsclaw are really going to change this deck too much here. So I'm actually going to go double Insight because there's a couple fun things we can do with it here. So I can discard it to any of my discard spells and still have the access to flashback it. And we've got a significant amount of discard spells in here. We have Tempest Harvester, Cameo Meets the Story Circle, Horde Shadow Spinner, double Scurrilous Sentry, and potentially blood tokens off of Gengar. That one's a lot more rare, but that's still plenty of other ways to discard this thing. We also have the perfect combo of this with the Tameo Meets the Story Circle of discard it, and then we have 2 clue tokens from discarding it, and then we can sack one of them to draw 2, so we can double up the card draw off of the clue token, which is pretty cute, because then we like flashback this, sack 1 clue, draw 2, stuff like that. That's very cute. We have the Transmigrant combo for the Insight, if we ever pull that off, and we have Eldrazi Spawn expendable for the Insight. 3 of them, double Lurker and Unfathomable Truths. Yeah. I don't know. It's a thing. I don't know how good of a thing that is. When it comes to the Archway, we have literally 1 artifact producer, just Tameo Meets the Story Circle. As cute as it would be, if I ever make a bunch of clues off of that, it's probably not worth playing another tapped island. We have enough landscapes in the deck that the Archway actually will be hitting the board tapped a considerable amount of the time to where that is a drawback. Yep, I'm going to drop that and just play Islands and Swamps in here. 13 black cards and 7 blue. So I've got 3 blue landscapes and 1 black, so this is 9-9 split. Probably wrong. We want to go 8-10. Feels right to me. And I think I'm going to lock this one in. This is my favorite deck we've built. I said that a lot, but this is the most consistent deck that we have, and it is tied when it comes to running the highest power cards. We're playing both Gengar and Devourer of Destiny in here. It has the potential for just lucky blowouts with Drownyard Lurker Victimize combo. And it's always going to be doing something. It's pretty hard for this deck to get stuck like doing nothing. It's pretty consistent with just all the different ways to draw a card and discard a card, and just being just 2 colors and all of the landscapes being at least 1 color on color, so we can always crack them for whatever main color it would be. if we were running them as a basic. Yeah. I don't love it. I don't think its odds are super high here. I don't think we had a very powerful sealed pool that had a huge shot of taking down the box, but we've got a pretty consistent deck that should be able to fight, should be able to try its best to compete with most other decks. So if we play really, really tight and hit some decent matchups, I'm not gonna say it's impossible here. Let's hope for the best, fingers crossed. But let's hop into that gameplay. Alright, here we are for game one. Pretty bad hand mana-wise. We have one castable spell, Breathe Your Last. If I hit any land, I can cast that. Everything else in the hand needs a blue source, or Devourer needs a bunch of colorless. But we're on the draw, and a single blue source goes a really far way. If they can't kill the Shadow Spinner, that can really set up our draws, but even just cycling a Lurker puts in a lot of work, getting us up to mana number 4 out of 5 for Unfathomable Truths, and draw 3 is definitely big enough to get us there. I'm gonna keep here. It's a bit of a gamble, but if we can find a blue source in the top 3, because we have 3 draw steps before we need land 3, then we're going to be in a really good spot. And if we find any land in 3 draws, we're going to be great. And actually, Devourer in the opener, I completely forgot about the bonus text on this thing, makes it incredibly likely that we find the blue source, because it looks at the top 4, puts the best one on top. Well, there we go. We definitely would have found the blue source. Whether or not we had Devourer of Destiny here. I don't know if it's a good thing we just exiled 3 extra lands, though, since we're trying to get to 7 mana for multiple cards, potentially. There's a colorless source, so that plus 1 Eldrazi spawn is going to be enough for that Devourer of Destiny to get cast later, so that is huge. We're playing against green-black, green the strongest color in the format if you have a good sealed pool to support it. Green just has the best commons if you have a lot of those. We didn't really have any of the best green commons, though. The 2-mana Death Touchy mana dork, the 3-mana 3/3 that makes a spawn when you play it and when it dies, a bunch of stuff like that. That's just real good value for the cost. Alright, well, we're going to get to curve out with the Shadow Spinner here and hope that they don't have the cheap removal for it, and that just keeps setting up our draws and really getting us there. Nyxborn Hydra. I don't mind an Accursed Marauder trade for that here. That would be my only play for the turn, but no matter what I do, I'm only playing 1 card here. I guess we could draw into another card off of the Shadow Spinner if we're lucky. I'm just gonna go land first, so I have both colors up post-combat for whatever I draw into, no matter what I draw. Okay, a 4-drop here. I do need land 5 and 6. Might just discard this 4-drop because we play Unfathomable Truths next turn. Yeah, that seems solid. Discard this. If I discard this landscape, then I can't cast Devourer without an Eldrazi spawn if they manage to kill all my spawn tokens. But in literally every other scenario, Black Source is better. Or it's like casting Breathe Your Last in another spell. I don't know, I literally have the Devourer in hand, though, so I think I play towards that. Really make sure we have the colorless sources for it. Because I think these are all good enough spells that it's not worth discarding one of them for a land, when if we draw just 1 more, then that land is going to be redundant anyway. Doing Shadow Spinner stuff. Okay. I think I'm just going to do the same thing, because I'm about to draw 3 more cards. So I have 4 draws to hit another land 7 here. Okay, there's their Unfathomable Truths. When I say land 7, I mean land 6. I mean mana number 7 for the Devourer. Yeah, I don't want to like ditch Lurker, because I like being able to play Devourer and Lurker. Okay, well, we're playing Lurker first at this rate. Since their only permanent on board is a colorless permanent, so Devourer can't even exile it, and Devourer is a must ability. You do have to exile something when you cast it, if there is a legal target. So seeing as the only legal target on board is our multicolored spell, we definitely don't want to cast a Devourer right now. So even though I missed the mana for it, I don't mind, because I think this turn was going to be a setup turn anyway. I was just going to like play our own Lurker. But instead we just Breathe Your Last and Tempest Harvester or Dream Drinker Vampire or something. Definitely mute my phone when I'm playing competitive events. Alright. And then get the Lurker out of the way so I can Shadow Spinner attack. I'm slightly concerned I milled myself out here, but it is what it is. Let's see what we draw to choose what we play. We're definitely discarding Transmigrant. Transmigrant Insight it is. Great discards. And it looks like Tempest Harvester will be the play here. And I've got all the beef in the world. I need to stop discarding lands, though. If I draw any lands, I am definitely playing them from here on out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are gone. So 6 plus 5, 11. There are still 6 more in the deck out of 15. Okay, there is one of them. Just cast a Drownyard Lurker, and even if it gets countered, it replaces the Eldrazi spawn. Let's go to combat first. Maybe they'll flash in something to like kill the Shadow Spinner. I'm gonna stop drawing. I'm scared of milling out. And everything in my hand is good anyway. I don't need to replace stuff. The hand is good enough right now. Alright, cast Lurker, immediately replace the Eldrazi spawn we just sacked. Alright. A decent value Quaddle. That was a very, very patient Hope Ender Quaddle there. Full 5 color from our opponent. Where is Gengar? That's a question we can have here. They still have all colorless permanents, which is awkward. Another Nyxborn Hydra, just bestow onto the Quaddle. Start racing us in the sky here. No. Well, I can just exile the Hydra itself. There's a Victimize, which is going to be massive in a second. Yeah, we pre-combat Devour the Hydra. And that lets the Shadow Spinner in, unless they combat trick it away. Actually pretty fun with the Harvester trading in here as well. We'll send that in too. We do need to kill our opponent before we mill out, so I am going to send that Harvester in. Waterlogged Teachings, they get to grab any instant from their deck, reveal it, and put it into their hands. Another Unfathomable Truths is what they find. Really dig in here. Ami is actually a very threatening draw. I can't really do the draw 3 thing anymore, but draining them for 2 a turn without even having to attack can be big. So send in the dream team. I don't love cycling the lurker just because I draw another card, but it's probably worth it to create the Eldrazi spawn to then victimize without actually even sacrificing anything. Take 4, go to 4. Bold moves. Yeah, I don't know what they could be playing towards, considering it could be literally anything in the set. It's very, very hard to guess against that mana base what exactly they're trying to hit here. Yeah, we need lands pretty bad. That is a good spell, but it's just better as a land here. Eight mana lets me play this and drain them once, which is huge when they're at 4. Just Malevolent Rumble. Try to storm off and turn all my stuff into 1/1s? That'd be pretty annoying. That'd be very annoying, actually. That could probably do it. They've got enough mana. They can likely storm off here. I will still have this Kami to try to drain them out of the game. It's gonna have to survive a turn cycle to be able to use its ability twice. Well, I guess it won't. By stopping their upkeep. Well, hold on. So I play the Kami, draw off of Shadow Spinner. That's draw 3. That's 0 mana, drain them for 2. Well, no, they're going to turn the Shadow Spinner into a 1/1 with no text. Never mind. This is all irrelevant. Ooh, appropriates my Devourer. That's Storm 3. No, Storm 2. One of my creatures remains, so probably Tempest Harvester. Okay, Tempest Harvester might still be enough to Kami here. Kami now and Kami next turn. So how do I do this? I've drawn 1 card. Harvester means I've drawn 2. I do still need to trigger 1 more card draw. No, I can't do it. What I'm trying to do here is find a way to trigger Kami for 0 mana this turn and still be able to Brain Surge during their turn to use Kami again. Which I can't really do. Because I need a black and 2. I would need a 2 mana way. 2 mana way to draw a card right now, which I don't have. I could still dig for it off of Harvester, but it feels better to just attack with everybody and hope they decide to just take 2 damage, because if they do, then they just die. Even if they don't, it looks pretty bad for them. And they might just take 2 so they can keep the Eldrazi spawn towards casting Devourer. Yeah. Take 2? Alright. And there we go. And there's the concession from our opponent. We do get to start things off 1-0. Here we are on the play for game 2. Can draw a lot of cards towards something, but if our opponent has a really aggressive start, this could be bad for me. But I can Lurker and Insight the spawn. That's 3 card draws towards having something better to do. Well, we're chilling. Playing against black-green, white of the Reliquary. Turn 2. And it looks like we are going to be stuck on just cycling the Lurker here. Towards Eviscerators in sight. Or Unfathomable Truths. Uh-oh. Netherglyph can get real big. Gets bigger for each card type in their graveyard. Currently just lands. But as soon as I kill a creature, that's a 1-mana 2/3, and it gets bigger and bigger and comes back from the grave. Tempest Harvester, that is something to do. And Scurrilous Sentry is something even better to do. What are the odds my green-blue-black opponent is playing the Aether counterspell, the Energy counterspell? It feels low enough to just play Scurrilous Sentry here. So I don't even think like Tempest Harvester Insight is that great of a turn regardless. I kind of want to get a chunky enough blocker to threaten to block these better. And we've got a really good discard. Although with the amount of mana we have, we're guaranteed to hit 6 mana, even if I discard a land here. I could have the same problem I had last game, where I just kept discarding lands. But here we go. I'm starting discarding lands. Maybe the biggest argument towards discarding the Insight is getting the +1/+1 counter on the Sentry. And have a 4 toughness blocker here. It could definitely matter. Both of these cards can become like 3 power if they do something. This if a creature ends up in grave, and this if 2 different card types end up in their grave. Dream Drinker Vampire, sure. Got some decent cheap aggro creatures. Luckily they didn't start playing them till later though, so we're still safe here with our slower start, and now we're all ready to Unfathomable Truths. Just start going to Value Town. Sentry's kind of got a whole brick wall to break through right now though. It's not doing much yet. Not till we have another instant to hold up alongside it. Some kind of trick, or bounce or removal or something. Reinforce the Netherglyph, plus that's an instant in their grave now, so the Netherglyph is very big. Just take the 4 here, because I would rather draw 3 than draw 2 right now. And I'm not going to just chump 4 damage when I can chump and draw 2 on a later turn. There we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, there we go. There's Gengar too. All right. One Drown Your Lurker in grave right now. I feel like I wait for Victimize until Gengar's dead. And I kind of want to wait to play Gengar till I have at least 7 mana, so I can play that and a 2 mana spell, like an Insight alongside it. So this turn is... I don't know why I didn't play an Island here because of Sink into Stupor. So this turn is Harvester, Marauder, hold up an Insight. Yeah, and I can Stupor in combat if they make me want to do that. Utter insignificance. I want to Harvester, Marauder, hold up Insight here. Do I discard Gengar for Victimize? I don't think I do. Definitely don't discard Insignificance. Maybe I discard Stupor. A little awkward. They sack Dream Drinker Vampire to this thing. And it sacks itself. Yep. Alright. Really flubbed it not playing the blue source here. We should be able to be holding up Utter Insignificance or Insight right now. I think I just saw the double black on Gengar and knew that I wanted to play Gengar and hold up Insight in the same turn later. But that's later. Not right now. Alright, that's gonna make the Nethergoyf even bigger, probably. Yep, find the sorcery. It's getting big. Exile with Utter Insignificance, which is going to be a big deal. Although, making it a 1-1 right now wouldn't really matter. Still be a 3-3, which is big enough to kill any of these on blocks. I'd still be chumping here. Yeah, the big thing we missed was just the flexibility of this for something else. I don't think we'd be immediately insignificanting the Nethergoyf. Ooh, you know what is kind of awkward? The white can sack the Nethergoyf to search for a land to make sure they can escape it. Even though I could technically exile it with Insignificance, they can stop me from exiling it with the white of the Reliquary, which is not fun. Ooh. Well, we're probably just casting that. Yeah. I mean, they're going to be able to sack the white in response to Insignificance or Devourer. So I might as well get a 6/6 on board when I do this. And this taps the white to let Sentry get in as well. 4 damage in this turn. We find a non-land we would like to discard. Definitely making sure to play the blue source next turn, ideally. Breathe your last. That is not a non-land I'd like to discard, so goodbye, Swamp. And now I'll definitely end up playing the island next turn. Alright, that's cool. A 3/3 is still valuable. Flare of Cultivation, 2 basics, probably doesn't matter too much at this point. Happy to see just a ramp spell from them this late. Drownyard Lurker. Making it really hard to cast Gengar. I guess now I can cast Gengar and hold up Utter Insignificance, which is what I've been wanting to do. Cast Gengar holding up like a trick kind of spell. And probably combat first. Sentry. Which means I shouldn't have played my land yet, but is what it is. Perfect draw. Perfect draw. Get in the grave, Transmigrant. Where you belong. The trash. The 4 power. So I have to Insignificance the Defiler which will mean in response they sack it to the white. This is awkward. This means I actually have to insignificance the white and just bounce off the Defiler here. Dang it. Dang it, Bommy. I guess if I have to insignificance the white anyway, I might as well breathe your last and have 5 mana up instead of, like, none. I'd have 3 mana up if I insignificance, because I have to fully exile here. Yeah, I can have the 5 mana up to cast Gengar. No, because I don't have double black. Shoot. Well, 4 up for Transmigrant is still better. Alright. Remember when I discarded the swamp instead of the island? But now it actually would have been better to have the swamp. Pepperidge Farm remembers. I could insignificance to just get this Defiler out of here, but I don't want to spend removal on a 3/5 if I don't have to. Yeah, and we're bringing Transmigrant back. If they don't play anything that needs to get exiled. Welcome back, Nethergoyf. Your nice new 3/4 body. Well, they played something that needs to get exiled. We're not breaking through a 7/5 reach even with our bomb rare flyer. They've got 1 colorless mana up. I can't imagine that can stop another insignificance. Oh, they can crack it and get 1 piece of value off of color's ability. Yeah, that's fair. 1 trigger. Mills a land. Okay. They can double block and kill my sentry. They'll draw a card, discard a card by attacking. Yeah. To the skies we go. Anything other than the 7/7 to reanimate right now? I could reanimate an Accursed Marauder and then they can't block the sentry. It's actually tempting. Just to put the pressure really on their life total here. Yeah, let's put the pressure on. Let's go for it. Speed this clock up. Alright. They look incredibly dead on board next turn. They need some big swings. Arcbound Condor is a blocker. I don't even know if they have the card types to bring Nethergoyf back again. No, they need 4 different card types. They have 3. Okay. I don't think 1 blocker's enough. Block, block, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I discard a non-land card to Sentry, they're dead. If I play the Kami and drain them, they're dead. We go for the onboard lethal. Against 1 card in hand. Alright, they're just gonna concede. Because I'm trying to be really, really safe about it and still think through the plays. I'm like, well, do we discard the non-land card to have onboard lethal? Because these are both really good non-land cards. We definitely don't discard the Kami. The question is if we discard Lurker to present lethal here. Or we let them go to 1. Chump, chump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we just let them go to 1 there. Because it's so much better if they do have something like an instant speed removal spell to have another big 7-drop backup than it is to kill them 1 phase faster, because I'd still kill them in main phase 2 if they have nothing there. Alright, we are 2-0, so pretty great start so far, and no matter what, since you only get 2 losses in this event, we're at a 50-50 win rate at worst. But hopefully we can keep it up heading into round number 3. Maybe get out of the no reward section. Alright, here we are on the play for game 3. We have no blue source, and we're on the play. The only black card we have is 4 mana, so if we don't draw the blue source, we don't do anything till turn 4. We only have 8 blue sources in the deck. 8 out of the 33 cards that are left. Is not great odds to find it in just a few draw steps. 8 out of 33. It's less than 1 in 3, and I only have like 2 draw steps because I'm on the play before I get hit for not hitting it. But I have a good count of lands and a good 4-drop. Still think I have to take the mulligan. Alright, we've got both our colors in this one. Start on turn 2. Probably have to get rid of Victimize because we just don't have combos for it. Tamiyo and Insight is a good combo though, so keeping those together is a plan. But we're probably starting with the lifelinker. Try and get as big of a life total differential as possible in the early turns. Ooh, they got the brand new Zendikar lands, also known as the old Zendikar lands. The brand new old lands. The very first full arts that came in a standard legal set. Very cool. The first full arts in a non-unset from like 2009, I think. So really cool to see the older artworks come into Arena over time. They are pretty nostalgic for me. Zendikar was one of the first sets out when I started playing. Alara Reborn was the newest set when I very first started, so Zendikar was right around the corner. Just a couple months later, a few months later, something like that. Wither and Bloom the Vampire, that's a bummer. Well, let's meet the story circle then. All right. Is it a bad idea to discard this swamp when I've got a good 5-drop in hand? Probably is. Well, I guess I get to wait till I draw another card to choose what I discard here. If I get to wait, that means I'm just going to have 4 mana up to crack 2 clues anyway, so I can definitely ditch an extra land. And just redraw 1. But yeah, I can certainly discard land 5 and just... Oh, there's another one in the top many cards. Top 3 here. Shuffle up to 3 cards from your graveyard into your library. It's interesting. I don't think that really matters, though. I guess one of our biggest concerns in many of these games was milling ourselves out, so... I could just shuffle back in the lifelinker. Definitely not shuffling the Insight back in, though. When I'm definitely going to have a clue token sitting around. Another 3-color deck. They're going to Jund us out here. Great fixing. Great fixing. There's the Oozewag. They've got a 4/4. Welcome to the battlefield. Alright, there's land 5 for the Unfathomable Truths. And a Drownyard Lurker after we hit land 6. Get back in there, little guy. Sentry is pretty good. I think I still Unfathomable Truths towards the Lurker, because if we top deck one land, then 6 lands plus a spawn, and we play Lurker next turn. Hold off this potential 6/6 Oozewag. I guess they could turn into a 7/7. They can adapt it for 2, and then they can also Wither and Bloom onto it. And that wouldn't be great for me. Oh, hello, Mythic Common. Better than literally every common, uncommon, and almost every rare and mythic in the format. Bomb Rare Common Chrysalis has arrived. Devourer of Destiny can't do anything about it because it is colorless, technically. But it is still going to be my best play for the turn, considering I'm locked in for 7 mana next turn off all these land draws. Can still just get rid of an Oozewag and establish a solid body. But we're going to need to find something to kill this Chrysalis real quick. It can pretty easily become even bigger than our Devourer. There's the Insight to draw a couple cards here. The Oozewag also ends up in the graveyard instead of exile, which can be relevant as well. Potential graveyard recursion and stuff. I'm not loving it. All it takes is one thing for me immediately to be like, I'm not sure how good this game's going, and that one thing is Writhing Chrysalis. That is just how strong it is. I would literally rather be on the side of the board casting a Writhing Chrysalis than the side of the board casting a Devourer of Destiny. It is ridiculous. There's a Gargantua. That can be a draw 2 for them later. I really don't dislike trading my 6/6 into a Writhing Chrysalis, because Writhing Chrysalis can become much bigger than a 6/6 over time. The one thing I don't love about this attack would be that they can just, like, chump and sacrifice the spawn and go for a big crackback. That's not great for me. But a 7/7 Drownyard Lurker is our backup plan if that is their play. We're just really hoping they go for like the double block here. We're really happy. Okay, they are going to go for the crackback, so we drop a 7/7. They're going to get Gargantua value. Well, do I drop a 7/7? Because Marauder's still good on either of these. Yeah, I mean, I'm stopping them from drawing 2, or I'm getting rid of a Writhing Chrysalis. This is good. But I will take 4 damage or 6 damage on the crackback now, because my Sentry's not big enough to hold one of those back. Chrysalis is gone, but means they are going to draw 2 and hit me for 6 next turn. Triple blue source, double black. I'll keep the 3rd and 4th black source here. You know, one thing I haven't been doing in these other games that is worth considering is once the Devourer's been cast, maybe cracking the landscapes, make it less likely to draw lands. We have so much draw and discard in the deck, though, that it's kind of fine. We just end up discarding the lands to draw other cards. But it is probably objectively better to just thin the deck out a little bit and have more colored sources. Make it less likely we end up in situations like we did the other game where it was like I really wanted double blue on one turn, and then I wanted like triple black, and then I just never had quite perfect mana. We can get a little closer to that, cracking the landscape. Alright, adapt Gargantua. Draw 2. Oof. Signature slams. They needed the Gargantua to be big enough to kill, but then they get to draw another couple cards and kill my creature. Ridiculous combo there. Well, that would have been incredible 1 turn ago in response to them trying to signature slam. I probably would have cast it before that, though. I wouldn't have known to be playing around that. I still kind of have to hold this up, right? Because I can't just like play a 7/7 and try to trade into this against Wither and Bloom. They can also Wither and Bloom draw another 2. Yeah, we hold on to Breathe Your Last and use it in response to their Wither and Bloom, or I do it right now. Well, the one way that they could have to save this is the 1 mana hybrid green or black card for a +1/+1 counter indestructible, and that demolishes my soul no matter what. If I do it now or their turn, but if I do it in their turn, they can still like sack it and draw another 2 kind of thing. This would actually be ridiculous if they had that as well in their sealed pool. That's dumb. That's insane synergy in the pool. All right, you got me. I guess I'll lose. Yeah, that's wild. The Gargantua with the indestructible +1/+1 counter, with the removal spell +1/+1 counter, with the other removal spell +1/+1 counter. Yeah, straight up, guess I'll lose. Kind of situation. They have another trick. I'm cool to die to a trick here. They do not. Alright, that works. Bummer. Well, I would have had to discard my 7/7 just to chump. That was just Gargantua Wombo combo stuff. I don't think there's really anything we could have done to interrupt that stuff. We just didn't draw the interaction at the right time. We needed it earlier. And even if we had it earlier, maybe they had their pass just immediately. If we were drawing into the Breathe Your Last to stop that stuff. All right. Yeah, that was gross, and that'll take it back from us. We are 2-1 now. We lose a single another game, and we're out of the event. No more losses to give. But don't really think there was anything we could do about that insane Gargantua synergy. We are now 2-1, heading into Game 4. All right, here we are for Game 4. We definitely don't like Victimize and Insight in the opener that has no creatures. It's almost like we've already mulled to 5, so we could mull, because the hand is basically just 2 pieces of interaction and nothing we're doing ourselves. Yeah, kind of feel like I do have to mull on that one. This is blue and black. We have a 2-drop creature, a 4-drop creature. We get rid of Insight, and the hand's pretty reasonable. Another green deck with turn 2 Nightshade Dryad. Didn't see any of those in our sealed pool. I am immediately jealous. Let's slow down the ramp so they can't turn 3 Chrysalises, at least. They've got the white of the Reliquary as well, which is already a 3/3 since we killed the Mana Dork. haven't drawn into the Devourer yet and cast or anything, so I'm keeping the colorless sources for now. Just in case. We can actually do a lot of digging here. 3 different ways to draw and discard towards our bombs. There's Dream Drinker Vampire, Lifelinker of their own. There is a Drown Yard Lurker. Alright. So ideally here, we're discarding a non-land card to have a 3/4 blocker up. Guess I can discard the 2nd Sentry to guarantee I go Landscape Gengar here. That actually is pretty reasonable. I can also discard the 7-drop. I don't think we can discard the land or Gengar, because that just gives us such a good play next turn. I ditch the Sentry. We know what we're doing next turn, and the turn after that, it's going to be land 6 out of 7 towards Lurker. Like, pretty close to the 7/7. Frickin' Signature Slam back at it. Kill our creature and buff their board. There's a ton of pressure already on the life total here. Here's Gengar. We're down to 13 now, so if they can removal spell Gengar as well, we're dying very quickly. There's a Dross Claw. So 1/1 that drains us for 1 whenever it attacks. Well, it makes us lose 1 life. They can also re-equip that, so they can move that to the white to make it a 5/5, then they can attack, tap the white, sack the Dream Drinker Vampire, make it a 6/6 to trade into Gengar. But that would require sacking their whole board. And then we have a bit of breathing room from there. Sure, I don't have Gengar anymore, but I have time to get to Drown Yard Lurker, which is still big, because their board is empty. They have a single equipment and 5 mana. I think it's worth it. At 12 life, I think we have to do it. Yeah, sure. I will have my Gengar trade into your entire board. Looks good to me. Okay, there's land 7. I can go ahead and crack one of these for a blue source. And I am still locked down on Drown Yard Lurker next turn. And I have double colorless for if we draw into the Devourer. That's the important part about cracking a landscape. Quest for the Necropolis. That's any graveyard, right? From a graveyard. So white would be a 5/5. They can get our Gengar. That explains the trade. That's a nightmare. Actually, they just kill us with our own Gengar now. Yeah, we need to find another removal spell. Guess finding our Devourer works pretty well. Land is not that. Is this land bad enough to skip out on dealing 2 to them to draw and discard it? I don't think so. Because once they play any creature, I'm not attacking with Harvester anyway, and I can ditch this land at that point for the digging. So I will dig with Harvester when it's not going to do anything else, regardless. Gross. Wow. Alright, let's just get Mega Bombed on out of here. Ooh, and I'm really bad at top deck wars, as you can see. So getting to the spot where we're playing off the top is rough. For this deck, technically, this deck should be really good playing off the top because of the amount of card draw and discard and stuff, but I am not. No! Oh my god, that's brutal. Oh my god. Attack me with Dreadmont twice and end the game at this point. Actually the most tragic draw on the deck to find Victimize right after they board wipe you entirely. So rough. They've got the mana to just get our Gengar back before I can Victimize it. And even if I can resolve a Victimize, they all hit the board tapped, so we're just dead at this point. Yeah. Just actively horrible post-board wipe. No, we're dead no matter what we do. I can Vampire, Victimize, get a bunch of tapped creatures. I get a single... Oh no, I don't even get an Eldrazi spawn because I only get one when I cast that. So I get a bunch of tapped creatures and die. Because these are both 6 damage. Or I can play a single Dream Drinker Vampire. They can equip a Drawsclaw to the Trampler. I can chump the 6 damage from Gargantua and take 6, 7, 8 there. Go to 1 if I play this and adapt it. So I have to chump block, and I go to 1 against a 7, 7, and a 6, 6, and there's nothing that changes anything from there in the deck. And obviously if they have any interaction at all, it's over. There's actually probably stuff they can reanimate that kills me here too. So I'm probably dead on board because of the revealed graveyards. There's probably something. Oh yeah, they could just bring back an Accursed Marauder and we're dead. Or they can give the whole board trample. That works too. Well, pretty big bummer. Always sucks to go undefeated into all losses, but really don't think there was anything we could do there. Just got outclassed a little bit by some stronger cards, some stronger decks, and that is sealed for you. Really don't hate how I built this deck. I probably didn't play perfectly. Definitely playing is where I'm a lot weaker, in my opinion, but I'm a very big fan of the deck that we actually ended up with here. I think this is probably just about the best we could have built in this sealed pool. I did feel a little bit low on interaction, so maybe it was worth making the mana base a bit less consistent to do something like that, since our 4 landscapes do give us red. But that's about the only thing I think I'd really consider changing here, is throwing in like a Fanged Flames over the most filler black or blue card in the deck. I guess a second Insight, yeah, something like this. Mana base gets a little bit worse, not dramatically worse, so probably worth it to have thrown the Fanged Flames in. But outside of that, pretty minor adjustment. I really, really like the core of this deck, and I think it is probably the most consistent, best deck we could have built here. I mean, I liked running the Tamiyo meets the Story Circle, and that's something I thought I would never say, but I think this deck actually has cute little combos for it that played out solidly in sealed, where it is quite a bit slower. We did have time to crack a lot of those clues for value. Liked the card draw, the setup here, get towards Gengar more often. Played out pretty well. I think, again, we just got outclassed by some slightly stronger decks. Certainly happens, but that is 2-2 in the Arena Direct. A 50-50 record, perfectly average, which is nice in a really competitive event like this that brings out all of the pro-level grinders. But that's not enough to win anything because these events are so top-heavy. We are just out of it. $25 down the drain. Big bummer, and definitely don't recommend this event unless you plan to play it a lot, because even if you are very, very good at sealed, there is a lot of variance to it. I was watching just Loloman's stream where he's grinding out, trying to get multiple of these boxes, and he's definitely a much better sealed player than I, and even him, like during day 1, I think he did like 7 attempts, and he like 5-2'd a bunch, but just never got the box there, so yeah, There's no way. Even if you're really good at the game, if you don't have the time to just rerun the event over and over again, statistically speaking, even with a very high win rate of like 60 to 70%, if you're only playing the event like twice, your odds of getting a box are not particularly high. So we didn't get the box, we didn't get the huge prize. It was pretty unlikely in the first place. I'm pretty happy with how I built the deck, though, how I navigated the sealed pool, so I'll take that at least. I think it was a good showing of what the sealed pool could do, even if it couldn't take home the booster box. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more on your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.